Eventually they'll be school.
Yeah. I was like watching videos of people like trying to do that. There was some like, I guess the national party, and there was like this rally. I was like, wow, I'll never be that good. Oh, I was thinking.
I just hit it over the net.
Yes, I'm doing good to remember how to do this.
The parameters technique in education, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You can kind of like jump over the kitchen and hit it, but you gotta land like out of it. Yeah, so you can hit it in the kitchen, you can stay in the kitchen, you gotta jump.
I'm not to the level.
All day.
I heard them because I was outside. Probably 5:15-ish, and I heard people talking about it. They started to holler about like. Yeah, what's the weather That's what I was just thinking. Oh, yeah. I had never heard of that. Yeah. I tried to have a whole. I've been going to it. Always up there. Am I doing everything was and so the Hey, I read this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, shoot back hard, sir.
Other side.
He's a pastor, so I think he speaks the truth. Doesn't matter. Lee, how you doing, man? Doing great, thanks.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's certainly nice to see everyone again tonight. Thank everybody for joining us. Before I officially call this meeting to order, if you guys would please join me in a moment of silence for Lost Boys Springs High School teacher, Miss Emily Maria Fletcher. Amen. With that, I will now officially call this meeting to order. A quorum is present and the media has been notified. Following our agenda, first up, we will do our Pledge of Allegiance. You guys will please stand with me. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to everyone once again. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been incredibly hard week. And extremely proud of our district and the folks that are in our community and what we've been able to come together and do. And not that individually I've done anything, but just seeing the efforts of everybody in the community. And I thought that maybe I would like to give the devotion as early as Monday or Tuesday last week, and I began thinking about what I wanted to say. I want to say, and I won't actually say, but in church over the weekend, Pastor Zach Williams got up, and when he started his message, man, it was on point, just with every single thing that he said, exactly what I want to say. I started taking notes. I said, well, forget about it. I'm just going to see if people will come here and share part of that message with us here today. So with that, Ms. Williams. And Mr. Williams, Zach Williams, pastor at First Baptist Boyd Springs, and also does a tremendous amount with our students here at District 2.
Also, that was me and Honk to wave you on your front porch the other day. There's a house. Real quick, I'm going to dive in. We're kind of walking the title mark. The church has been doing that for a while. That's what happened to fall in Acts when we got teaching. I go backwards. This is where we fell. This is the disciples come to Jesus. They've been questioning about some other stuff. The teacher said, John, we saw a man driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he was not one of us. Not stop him, Jesus said. No one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me. For whoever is not against us is for us. I tell you the truth, anyone who gives you a cup of water in my name because you belong to Christ will certainly not lose his reward. I think this is an incredible picture because we look at this idea of, hey, these guys are casting out demons in Jesus' name, not their own. But John says, but hey, he's not one of us. Saying he's not part of our group, he's not part of our clique, he's not part of our following, he's not part of your following that sticks with you, right? So this is a guy still doing things in Jesus' name, and they're saying, hey, but he's not one of us. And they actually stop him. So I was just kind of going through this even before all these things happened this past week and a half. And just the idea of me trying to stop like another church from doing something good. And so I had this picture of, I worked at Lake Bowen Baptist Church for 8 years, and my good friend, Pastor Brad, they had an outdoor baptism a few weeks ago. So I was like, the idea of me coming out where they were. And as he tries to baptize all those people, I'm like grabbing them and trying to pull them the other way and dump them the other way, right? And like, hey, no, we're going to baptize him in the name of Boiling Springs First Baptist Church. But he's not baptized in the name of Lake Bowen Baptist Church, and I'm not baptized in the name of Boiling Springs First Baptist Church. We're baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because it's one name, right? It's one team. So this idea kept coming to my head that, hey, like-minded brothers and sisters are not for competition, they're for completion. They're completing the body, like 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about how the body is made up of many parts of lots of different jobs, right? And it's not to be divided, it's to work together for one thing. That's for his name, and for his glory, and for his kingdom. And what a beautiful picture of that. I see it all the time here on the churches. There's something I each other working together thing. We have a picture of that for this county. But country, this church is busy. We're trying to North Carolina, change off. People houses, getting together for one purpose, just the love of people. Like, love is. So I get all working together for one. Shortly after that, Jesus says, who is your this all? Who is this all? He's talking to the pictures of the rainbow with Jesus. Right? We're supposed to get we're supposed to see that. What is that? It's not something wrong with nothing else, right? That's what teenagers should be in, but my next one, but you get me right, so we're solve the song. Like you're buying the song, hopefully. Right? So next one is that like copy software because it comes out. So real quick, in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, Paul sharing with the church of Corinth about church massacre. Those of you know about the grace that God has given to Macedonian churches. He's not saying grace on each other. Grace means to them like who he is. That out of the most severe trial, no long joy or extreme poverty, well up the generosity. Think about it for a second. Out of their most severe trial, their overflowing joy and extreme poverty, well up the generosity. Pride justified they gave as much as they're able and beyond their ability. Entirely on their own, pleading with us for the privilege of sharing this service to the saints. And they did not do as we expected, but they gave themselves first to the Lord. And then actually, the Pharisees tried to always try to get Jesus. They said, hey, what's up? Actually, that says all the law and prophets hang on those two commandments, which is a pretty wild thing for Jesus to say. All the law commandments hang on those two things. And so he said, go. And that's what he did with God first. Man, I've seen people all the time. I was on a chain. Like, what's high school quarterback? He's running a chain. On drag street for multiple days. How is it? I'm multiple times back to the things. Pretty fast how they go. Senior adults. I mean, everyone knows just to try to love and figure. As a profile, that's not. I just miss the strategy. Also, I mean, even last year, with the loss of students I've been very close to, and that student body, and now the loss of a teacher, this is a community that constantly and consistently rallies around each other and loves each other. So I'm thankful for everything that y'all do. In a time where we're not supposed to be divisive, not that anyone disagrees on anything in October of an election year, not that you see anything about that or anything about that, but that idea that, hey, if we're all together for the common good of loving people gospel, which I believe you are. What an incredible place that is. So each week, one morning a week, I had it this morning with my 4 guys. We get together, discipling, at breakfast. They should play them all the time it is in my pocket. But last week, since they have to go to school, we're going to go work. We walk out for the breakfast and everything. And I never think my spot so. Or you can play things as much as you. As the 5 of us walk out. You like, take that. Who are you going to help? Either we've got things on, we can only try to do that. Not the time for the food and water, but just take. We're going to help. Outside of hurricane and anything else, this idea of what if someone was asking everyone, someone you know, someone watches everything that you do, doesn't hate the words, say it's like, hey, there you go, again. Who are you going home? That's what you ask yourself. That's something you can fit in your lives. If you want the leaders who are in this community, I think that's an incredible place for us to be, an incredible question to keep asking ourselves. Thanks.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for that. And then you give everybody that hour first. We thank you, Pastor Williams, and the message of encouragement that he offered us today. Let us all remember that like-minded brothers and sisters are not competition, but completion. Lord, we ask you to continue to bless Pastor Williams' ministry message he brings for our community. We also want to pray for those devastated by recent hurricane. Remember those who've lost their lives. Hold the hearts of their families, change forever change by grief and loss, bringing consolation and comfort. Bless those who survive and heal their memories of the trauma and devastation. May they find the courage to rebuild on the long road ahead of them. Lord, help us respond to generosity. This is the name. Bless our ability. For folks who need those things, even after the crisis is over. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Do we have any public comments? All right, seeing none, that brings us to item number 1 on our consent agenda. That is a recommendation to approve items A through F on the consent agenda. What is the pleasure of our board?
I'll make a motion to approve items A through F on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McKillop and seconded by Dr. Banks to approve items A through F on the consent agenda. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. Mr. Radford, I was just wondering if you could tell me what the procedure is for this relating to the trip requests that we have pending. What's the procedure for students who wish to go on a trip and maybe don't have the funds available themselves? What kind of scholarship opportunities do we have as a district for them? I'm just curious.
I know that if there is a field trip that's planned and there's a student who wants to go, we're going to make a way. To my knowledge, we've never had a child who's been turned down. If there's a field trip that's planned, that a class or group is going on, that a student wants to go on, we make a way for that person.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any that are opposed? And that motion carries 8-0 and 1. That's right. Yeah. All right, next up, we have our projects update and Lori Hall and you guys come on down.
Good evening. Chairman and Mr. Radford and distinguished members of the board. So we have just a little update for you today, but we have no pictures because we've shown you pictures over the last few months. And there's a few little projects that we have remaining. I do want to tell you that we did have a final inspection on the Bowling Springs High School guard office and athletic storage building today, and we did the verbal approval for occupancy. We do have a few punch list items to take care of, and I've got you all the paperwork in tomorrow and the next day, but we do have occupancy for the whole building.
So the only other item that we really have going on is Carlisle Foster's Grove, we're working on the site lighting, and they expect to have that site lighting completed within 2 weeks, and then we have the canopy for the front of Carlisle Foster's Grove to get them coming over Christmas break.
And Sheriff, good. Just want to let the board know, we talk about site lighting, when we began the expansion of Carl Foster's Grove and redirecting traffic, we noticed that there really wasn't a sufficient lighting on the campus to meet the needs that we had. So we did put out a bid and have a company that's putting in site lighting, and it will be nice and lit. It will be very similar. When you go to Cool Springs Fingerville, there's a lot of great lighting there. We just feel like our campuses need to be well lit for our students, for our families, and at all times.
And we would just ask that we are allowed to come back one more time next month and just visit with you. A little short program we'd like to present to the board next month. Okay?
You're always welcome. I will speak to the board chair, but you're always welcome.
We look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you, girls. Brings us to item number 3, and Dr. Hinton, we're all eager to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. I just want to, first of all, just say, there's so many lessons in Spartanburg School District 2. And we are all very blessed to just be able to serve in this district. Even though we have had tragedy come our way and hurricane, just to see, the people helping each other, like Pastor said, there's so many blessings. As leaders, we continue to remind ourselves to embody that fruit of the Spirit. Just blessed to be able to serve in this capacity. At this time, we are going to share our district goals progress, and so we're excited to share. There are some data that are embargoed by the State Department until October the 15th, which is the public release, and so we can't share that publicly at a school board meeting, but after October 15th, we'll be able to share the full report with you. We'll share everything that we can share that's not embargoed tonight with you, and then have that report to you after October 15th. And this time I will have members of the team, and starting off with Mr. Rolford for our district goals progress.
And thank you, Dr. Hinton, and I'll just do my part from here. First of all, members of the board, I just want to thank you as always. We look forward to the month of October because the month of October is the month that we get to update the board on our goals from the previous year. Unfortunately, the state doesn't necessarily always cooperate with us on the release of the report card because much of our data and our goals are based on a lot of things that would be evident in the report card, but there are some things that are in the report card that have been previously released that we can share and will share tonight. And I always get to start with goal number 1, which is always, even though we talk all the time, well, we talk very little, to be honest with you, about the school report card in our district. Because talking about a school report card does not make for a great report card. It's doing the work behind the scenes in the classroom with our students every day that gives us the results that we need that make for a great report card score. So, but we're always excited about the report card because it is some evidence to show what our schools are doing in our district as compared to schools around the state, because we're all judged on the same criteria. Of course, we cannot share what those results are because they have not been finalized. We feel really good about where we are. We always want to make sure that our students our schools are excellent, are good on the overall rating of the report card. And as soon as that is released on the 15th, we hope. We'll be glad to share that report. I feel really good about where we are. I feel really, really good. We've been concentrating specifically just in the past few years as it relates to our high schools. Our high schools have been performing just behind where our elementary schools and middle schools are performing. So we've made an effort. Our high school principals, our teachers there have made a tremendous effort to make sure that we're performing at the highest levels. And I'm excited about that information to be able to share in the near future as it relates specifically to our high school and, of course, all of our schools across the district. Dr. Hill, turn it back over to you. Unless there's any questions. Unfortunately, can't answer your questions about that, but there will be others that we can answer questions about.
And that was goal 1, to earn an excellent or good on overall school ratings. Goal 2 is elementary and middle school achievement and growth. And we're going to turn that over to Kristen Sinn.
Hello, how are y'all? I'm going to share a little bit, like she said, about our elementary and our middle school. And again, there's some information that we can go ahead and share with you all and some more to come, hopefully over the next month or so. But the first part was looking at our percentage of students that are meeting and exceeding on SE rating for both ELA and math. We had a slight decrease in reading, went from a 63.2 to a 62%, but still great numbers there. We did have an increase in our math. We went from 51.7 to 52.8. And so we don't yet have our state rankings for 3rd through 8th, but looking forward to seeing what those come up to be in the near future. Percentage of meets and exceeds for SC past science. We do not have those this year because scores were not released. We did a field test this year because some standards and things are changing. So that was just kind of get a baseline of data. So that's why you don't see anything there quite yet. C, all elementary and middle schools will earn an average or better on their student progress and ELA and math. And our overall percentage of progress points earned for the district was 49.2%, while the state was at 45%. And so that information on how well we did by school will be released later in October as well, but definitely above the state there. And then the last piece would be with our ML students and their progress for proficiency targets, and they did exceed the state average, with our district being at 47.4%, with the state being at 38.3%. So great numbers there. So definitely in the right direction. Any questions about elementary or middle school? Oh, I do. You're right. I got more information to share. I got excited. And the school climate report card. So we did meet our goal of exceeding state points on each of these 6 report card survey items. The percent pass rate and minutes of instruction on iReady, of course, is the place that we focus, and we greatly exceeded our goal on that one. 40% in math was where we set our goal. We ended up at 65.3%. And in reading, we stuck with the 40%, but ended up at 54.3% in that area as well. 60% attaining annual typical growth on iReady was another goal. We exceeded that in reading with 62%. And we were very close in math at 58%. So as we almost met that goal, 60% in each of those areas. 30% attaining their stretch growth on iReady. Again, exceeding that goal. With reading, we had 32%, and again, close with that math at 28%. And our final one, for real this time, 60% of our 1st through 5th grade students reading on or above their grade level on iReady fall to spring. And we have exceeded that goal as well with 62%. Anything else? Any questions about that? That is everything now.
Kristen, how do we determine how to set the goal, the goal like 40% in math or whatever? How do you determine where that number comes from?
Yeah, so we look at the students and how they have been scoring over time and look at how they're doing on like state testing and look at their percentile. We also base that on what the state goals are and try to make those match, because while iReady and the SC Ready state tests are different tests, we do see a lot of overlap and correlation. And so we know if we meet these goals, it puts us on the right path to do well on our state testing with our students.
And we also look at how students across the nation and the state score on iReady, and we sort of look at our goals in relationship to that and try to push that forward as well.
And our goals are always higher than what I would say the national norm is for sure.
Thank you.
Goal 3.
I get to share high school. I'm excited about that. So the data from high school is based on data that was released in August, based on all students. The data that will be released on October the 15th is for, there's a 9 grade level cohort of students. So if they start 9th grade in 2019, they're going to be in 12th grade by 2023. And so they base that on the kids who have been in that cohort, throughout time, and for this data that's going to be released October the 15th. The data released in August by the State Department, and I can legally share that with you because it's been released publicly, is for all students. So all those kids who have moved into our district, all the new ML students, all students. And I am excited to share this with you. So our goal in high school was for percent C or better on English 2 and Algebra 1 EOC, to increase that percentage and to be in at least, the top, I think 15% in the state. English 2 not only increased the percent C or better, and of course that exceeded the state average, but they, based on the all students data, ranked 13th in the state. There were only 13 districts that met around 75% or above on the English 2, and we were one of those districts. And also Algebra 1, you can see Algebra 1 at both schools combined increased from 58.5% of students C or better to 70.6%. Based on all students, y'all, we were number 1 in Algebra 1 in the state of South Carolina. So let's give our teachers did that. And it's just amazing. And again, that's based on all students' data. We'll look at our rankings again when the data is released for the 9GR, the continuously enrolled group. And then looking at U.S. history and Constitution and biology, our U.S. history increased from 54.5 to 56.5, exceeding the state average of 41.5. Biology 1 increased from 55.7 to 57.3, again exceeding the state average. Our goal was to be in the top 20. The year before, U.S. history ranked, let's see if I can remember, they were 8th in the state. They came up to 3rd in the state in the all students ranking. Biology 1 was 9th in the state based on the all students data released in August by the State Department. That is absolutely incredible. The highest EOC scores our high school students have had historically in Spartanburg too. So just proud of that. Now you can say at all levels, our children can perform at this high of a level, whether you're elementary, middle, high, whether you're on the Chesney side, Title I, non-Title I school. It really doesn't matter in our district. All of our children perform at that level, and that is trajectory changing for any child, and it's just amazing. Again, we've had a lot of beautiful multilingual language learners join our school family, and our teachers take their learning seriously, and we continue to exceed the state average and do well at each school there. We'll share the school results after the embargo is lifted, but just really proud of all of our teachers and students' efforts there, and we're proud to have those precious children. Our 3-year graduate.
And can I ask you, I don't mean to put you on, but I want to ask you a question myself, and I think I know the answer to this, but I want to make sure, and Trish can help us out. When it comes to our ML students, where are we right now in terms of our district, in terms of the percent of students in our district that are ML students?
Yes, sir. Around 22% was the last data that I saw.
So just want the board to know that, we have a growing student population, and that growing student population, many of our students who are serving are students that their home language, their first language is not English. And that presents new challenges for us, but our teachers and our administrators are rising to that challenge. Of course, we're exceeding where the state is in terms of performance of those students, but that does, create a new dynamic for us that we have to make sure that we're prepared for, and that we're serving all students who are in our district.
Just really proud of our students and teachers and our leaders, administrators as well. Everybody's on the same team here. Percent of children college or career ready, we said we love to have our goal to rank in the top 15 in the state. We not only increased from 76.1% last year to 77.2%, which is our highest percent college and career readiness to date. You can go back and look at the report cards. Last year, we ranked 7th in the state. And so we'll have to see after the embargo data is lifted where we rank when we get our hands on that file. But I'm sure we will rank at least in the top 15 districts, if not better than where we ranked last year. It depends on everyone else and how they grew as well. Like Kristen said, our school climate report card survey items, our goal was to exceed state points on their 6 items. 4 are from teachers and 2 are from students. And they combined those items, and we met our goal of exceeding the state points on each of those items. And you can see all this information, all the fine details. Y'all know I like to be thorough. We've got a report that we're working on, and you guys usually see this, and it has longitudinal links on it. And once the y'all can't read this, right? Once the embargo is lifted, you'll get this report again, like you usually get. One that we're really proud of is we set the goal for around 60% of seniors to be eligible for life scholarships. And I think we're going to have to reset this goal because looking at longitudinal data, Ms. Smith, we're doing really well there. So to be eligible for a life scholarship, you have to meet 2 of 3 criteria. I think it's a 3.0 GPA. You have to have a certain score on ACT or SAT. You have to be in the top 30% of your class. If you meet 2 of those 3, you're eligible. And nearly 72% of our seniors were eligible. Some may not have taken the scholarship, but they were eligible. So that is exciting, and we probably look at increasing that goal a little bit for ourselves because our folks are working hard there. And then we continued the goal of having at least 40% of our seniors taking at least 1 dual enrollment or 1 AP course where they can get dual credit. Prior to graduating. So anytime during their 9th grade year, 10th, 11th, or 12th, they would have taken at least 1 course. I know some of your personal children have taken many, many dual credit courses, which is awesome. And when we looked at that, it was 42.8%. So we met our 40% goal, and we'll continue to look at that longitudinally as well. But just super proud of all grade levels, but really excited to see our high school students' academic achievement be at the same level as elementary and middle, and just continue. And y'all were just getting started. You know, that collaboration and just working hard on those standards and doing those things that excellent teachers do and sharing that expertise with each other has really been the secret sauce. There's no fancy bells or whistles. It's just doing the work and sharing it and working on each individual student. So just really proud of our students and proud of our staff and proud of our administrators and leadership. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Jason Paddock, who has our 4th goal.
Good evening. So in general, the technology department continues to really focus on safety, security, reliability, and then our people and our tools working together very cohesively. You'll see that in some of our items tonight. To talk about the first few, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Thompson. To be clear, the best way to explain what he does is he makes sure that 13,000 people every day can safely connect to the internet. So a very critical person here. And another fun fact, Kevin has been here 20 years. One of the longest serving people we have in our district office. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin.
Thanks, Jason. So we were able to update all the technology for the district office, the maintenance department, and the transportation department. That includes desktops, laptops, monitors, any kind of docking station we need. We were able to implement a network access control for better port and network security. Basically what that is, if somebody comes into our district and tries to plug into a network port, we'll know about it, it's going to block it until we can actually put our eyes on it. So it's pretty important to have that kind of safety in our district. We also installed a second internet connection. Basically our schools are split between the 2 internet connections. So if something happened, fiber optic can cut, piece of hardware goes down, the other schools will redirect to the open internet access. So, it's been real helpful on the network internet outages. Any questions on those items?
Yeah, how open are we to a situation like Spartanburg County got themselves into recently, and how protected are we from that?
So we are pretty protected, in my opinion. We implemented an EDR solution about 2 years ago, which is endpoint protection and response. It's more of a virus scan. It's always searching our servers. It's always looking at any kind of all of our computers. So any kind of access that somebody having is seeing that. So if it sees something bad, it automatically stops that. We have all our backups on site in the cloud. So if something does happen, we also always have those backups for our servers. We also have an instant response team if we need. In my opinion, I think we're pretty good in a lot of situations.
And how about two-factor?
Yes, we implemented two-factor authentication on our Office 365, which is our email, and our Google system.
Yeah, that's a bit frustrating, but.
Very needed percent.
Yeah, it's saved us a lot.
I'm sure.
So that's very. I know nobody likes it. It's very important to the safety of our network, your email, your bank account, and all that stuff.
The new internet circuits that we've got, that are now split up, they're set to fail over. Are they also set for load balancing or just fail over?
Not really load balancing. We have 3 gigs on each circuit.
Okay.
Which is plenty to handle one. So
Are they different vendors or same vendor, 2 different
it's
circuits?
the same vendor it's what the state provides, which is Tegra.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just add one other thing to your question, Mr. C. Another thing that we're very proactive about is talking about phishing, but then also doing some things to send out practice phishing emails to our staff and see how people respond. One of the most important things is users in your district not doing things to give people access. And phishing is one of the most important ways, and so we take that very seriously and do a lot to try to train up and talk about that so people are smart about when they get emails. Well,
The people slick out there, aren't they? I mean, they're
we'll get
slick.
slick out there, yeah. There's lots of strategies out there, and so we continue to talk about it and try to train on that. The last bullet underneath A that I'll talk about is just a little bit of what we talked about last time, where we added our ViewSonic interactive panels to all of our elementary classrooms. We think that's not only a better device, adds more things to do, but also more reliable and consistent across all elementary classrooms. And then we wanted, again, to have a district-wide universal formative assessment platform and pair assessment. And so we took a lot of time last year to work through that and then provide that for everybody in the district. Then the last few things, we continue to fine-tune our inventory system, just adding more information so we can better understand the tools that we have in here, adding things like purchasing information and everything, so it's easy to find out about our tools. As far as communication goes, one thing that's really important is Kevin and I try to meet with all big main groups routinely, and then we constantly maintain relationships and make sure that all people are working together towards common goals, and that we're supporting that well. Of course, we have monthly meetings with our team and try to make sure that they're well prepared for what they're doing out in the schools. And then finally, professional development. And the main thing we've really been using strategy-wise the last couple of years is partnering with our vendors to provide training that they provide to our folks, but then also working through our instructional coaches to provide them training, and then like with our advisory team as we work through those processes with the interactive panels and with the pair assessment tool. We had some training with that as well. The pair assessment tool also went along with a graduate level course that the instruction department put together on formative assessment in general. They looked at a few different tools, but pair assessment was one they looked at that also helped us make our decision through that formative assessment class. Any other questions about technology?
Actually, could I ask?
Sure.
I hate to put you on the spot, but I think this is a question I get from time to time from board members, and I think it's a solid question. How do we know, when we're purchasing new software, that it is software that is needed, software that's going to be used, software that we're not, for lack of a better word, spending money that we're not getting our biggest bang for our buck? I think we've just done something recently to ensure that as best we possibly can, we're purchasing those things that are being used and not continue to maintain those things that are not being used.
So the process of choosing pair assessment actually came out of a couple of different things. One is embedded in our instruction model is the whole idea of concept of formative assessment. And we know that technology tools aid with that tremendously by being able to like self-grade, automatically grade, and things like that, and give teachers very quick feedback that they can make decisions on. So just from our instructional model, we find that's important, but we also know there's lots of different tools that have been used out there. Some of those the district paid for, some of them schools paid for, sometimes teachers would go buy them individually, and sometimes people are using free tools, and sometimes those free tools can come with issues, which is the free use of the tool. So by seeing all the different tools that are in place and money that was going towards different softwares, we realized we really needed to combine that into one sustainable software that we can support, that we can have conversations across buildings about, share assessments, things like that. And so through that process, we chose peer assessment. We also took the time with our advisory group to find out what are the important elements of a formative assessment software we want. And so we talked for a few months about all those important things we want to see in a software to be able to support the teachers. And so we built a rubric for that, and based off that, we sort of came to the decision that peer assessment was best for us.
We also took some things off the plate at the district level that would be duplicated.
Right, that was part of the process as well, was reducing the amount of softwares that we were purchasing and instead getting one superior software that we thought did more for more people.
Thank you, Jason.
Good evening. Good evening. Encapsulating the HR recruitment for the last couple of years, 2 years to be exact, primarily looking at our recruiting fair. We only attended 6 recruiting fairs last year. We're trying to get a bang for our buck. So some of the ones we had attended in the past, the number of students graduating didn't necessarily, wasn't going to be a good use of our time and energy. So we focus on our ones, especially upstate, Henderson, that produce a high volume of graduates, and we focus on them, along with one recruiting trip we took to Michigan this past year for the first time to see Eastern Michigan and the allotment of students that have graduated from their general population of educators. Second, our job application, we had roughly 1,863 people apply for certified positions, teaching positions, administrative positions, and 2,499 as far as classified positions in the district. And we advertise those positions on our website, along with Indeed, also Monster, and a couple other places, South Carolina Board Association, as well as advertise some of our district positions in the past. And then mentoring program is provided each year for induction teachers, and I think instruction department will go a bit deeper into that as well. And so mentors provide 1 year support training by Dr. Dawson and her group of people in her instruction team. And then lastly, our certified employee retention rate for this past year was 89.8% compared to 91.6% for the previous year.
Did you mention the Spartanburg 2 job fair the last couple of years? That's been a very successful thing.
I think Adrian's going to cover that, but we have held our job fair the last couple of years, and I think the first year we had 7 total people that we hired to do the job fair on the spot, and then there were a couple more later on, but actually last year we had total, let's say 14 or 16? 16 people last year that attended the job fair, either were hired on the spot or we hired them sometime during the course of the year. So we plan to have the job fair again this year annually. It's proving to be beneficial for us as we go deeper into the teacher shortage. We're finding out we're advertising locally in Spartanburg and Greenville, as well as across the border in North Carolina, and hoping to get those people to come to the program and check us out. Once they check us out, they'll be impressed, and as a result, they will sign up for us. Any questions you can think of?
Mr. Brooks, I've told you before, I commended you on the job that you and your team have done of hiring the right people for positions. But in your data there, I see a bit of an alarming trend. I wonder if you could speak to that, and that's with the 2,499 certified applications that were submitted in 23 versus 1,863 submitted in 2024. I assume that's a trend that you're seeing even beyond our district?
Correct. Correct. And that goes back to the teacher shortage where we can go to tons of events to recruit, but ultimately, if I could go to upstate and then we have 100 graduates that graduate upstate, and that number's down drastically from where they previously were. And as a result, not just we are recruiting upstate, but you got to bring in everybody else. And so, as attractive as our district are, if they graduated from upstate, but they're from Charleston, more than likely they're going back to their hometown area. And same thing with Anderson. We do a lot with Anderson University, but a lot of those students don't want to leave that particular area as much as we recruit. Mr. Bradford goes there once a year to speak. I go there once a year to speak as well. And they're vested in their hometown community, so it takes a lot for us to be able to pull them in those areas. And we went to Michigan last year purposely to see what Michigan had to offer, because people like to move down from the north down to the south. But that recruiting event was advertised to be Michigan State, Michigan, tons of other universities. Only one university was there, and that was a homeschool, and they didn't have any candidates, so we found out that wasn't beneficial for our time to go to that university anyway, because what the advertising didn't match up with what they were expecting. Any other questions?
And I just add to that, as we go to places like Anderson University, which is a great place, they have a great education program. Of course, USC Upstate has a great education program, but the trend is still that students are not going into education. And so we have to go out and recruit those new teachers, but we have to find those people that are moving from out of state here locally, that may be teachers or former teachers. We're continuing to try to tap some resources of folks who are not currently teachers, but are profession changers into the teaching profession. There are people out there that want to be teachers and they are looking to change profession. So we're looking to those avenues. We've been very fortunate. Of course, we have a great district. It's a great area for people to live. So we are very, very fortunate and blessed just by location and by the people we have and the reputation that we have. But we've got to continue to look into those untapped resources that we can dive into and get those people into the teaching profession as well.
Mr. Bradford mentioned that we also are tapping into our own teachers' aides for a program with USC Upstate. We can work with them from potentially being a paraprofessional to doing 1 year of student teaching at the high school. We've never had aides at the high school, but we're having an aide, former paraprofessional, working with a sitting teacher, and then they can go into the classroom next year and have their own classroom lectures. That's something creative that USC Upstate combined with us have done to try to increase the teaching pool and grow your own, is what it's called, within our own faculty staff.
And also North Greenville University, we've got several teacher assistants there doing the same thing. And then we have the partnership with Clemson. And so if you know of anyone who has a degree in any of the core areas but doesn't have a teaching degree and would like to become a teacher, they can apply, and they'll do a quick transcript review, and they will come in and teach as a teacher assistant for 1 year while they work on their master's in teaching, which is a 1 year round of courses, and then be able to teach with us after that. So they only would have to have teacher assistant salary for 1 year, but then they would come in as a teacher with the master's.
And do we have to start when they do? I can see that as a great recruiting tool. I'm hoping, can we start them on year 2 of the salary scale, or do we still have to start on the
Everyone's paid under the years of service on their certificate. So when they go and the State Department issues a certificate, they'll have a specific number of years of service, and then they give them credit for what they've done previously as an aid to correlate to their years of service that we place them on the teacher's salary scale.
And again, somebody else may talk about this later, but while we're on the topic, I think another area that we found is going to be beneficial. Mr. Brooks started talking about people wanting to stay where they're at, go back to their local communities. Well, the best way is grow your own in your own community. And of course, we have our teacher cadet program here in Bowling Springs, here in our district, and those kids are excited about becoming teachers. Because when you talk to them, we have them come to the district office every year. We sort of have a program for them, and I meet with them. I ask them about why they want to become a teacher, and most of those kids have stories just like many of us as teachers, that it was a teacher who made a difference in our lives. And that's the reason why we became a teacher. And you talk to most of those kids in the teacher cadet program, they're interested in becoming teachers because a teacher in our district made a difference in their lives. And they want to have that same kind of impact. And that is a growing program at Bowling Springs High School. I want to give them contracts right now because they're that excited about becoming teachers.
Dr. Nelson just reminded me that we also started Pro-Team, which is, it brings it down to middle school level, and it's like an elective where kids really learn about the teaching profession, what that's like to serve. So that's really
If we got our first group that's graduated with that, that maybe are freshmen, is this the second year we've done that or the third?
Teacher cadets.
No, the program at Spartanburg, the teacher program.
We're in our second year, our second full year.
They should be like seniors, some of them this year.
I think it's a two class program, and so once you take this two, then when they graduate, he says they're going on to college, and then 4 years later we
What I
get
was
those
trying
folks
to
back.
see is if any of those that have been through that yet are in their freshman year.
I bet Angie Ramsey would have that day.
There could possibly be students who took the first portion who were seniors and then went on. It could be freshmen right now, but really this year would be, if I'm not mistaken, actually the class that would be the freshman next year. Yes, ma'am.
Be interesting to find that one.
Good evening. I'm going to share about Goal 6, and that one's about the support we provide to teachers going through their evaluation. And I'll just speak briefly about the bullets on the screen there. Last year, we had around 160 educators who went through their formal evaluation. You can see they were very successful. That also speaks to the high quality teachers we have in the district, which is great. The support that we have included, some of those are our teacher quality website, which I know we've talked about before, but on that website, there's lots of resources both for teachers and evaluators. There are timelines that if you're going through evaluation, it walks you through exactly what to expect. There are always orientations and trainings to make sure if you're going through evaluation, you understand the rubric and what that would entail. And then for evaluators, there's a lot of common forms on there to help them as they're doing observations and doing their pre-conference and their post-conference. That third C there, part of the way we use the results from the teacher evaluations to inform our professional learning is we'll go back and look and see what were areas of strength last year. And for us, it's relative areas of need. So we had very successful scores again, but one of those strengths, well, three of those strengths, our top three were presenting instruction, so the instruction you give kids, motivating students, and then the environment, being both respectful but also rigorous. And so those are three great areas that we're very proud of. And then, as I said, the scores were quite good, but if we think about relative needs and how we back and questioning for two areas of professional learning this year around teacher clarity and offering scaffolds for students and helping support them. And then our last bullet on there is about our mentors. So last summer we trained 38 mentors. I think that's the biggest group we've had this since I've been here. So we were proud of that. It was a great group. And that brings our district level mentors, I looked this morning, up to 236. So those mentors have a South Carolina mentoring credential. Therefore, principals have a lot of options within their building to help be intentional about, giving support to the different teachers going through. Any questions? Thank you.
Dr. Dawson. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dr. Dawson.
okay, that's right. I was like, taxpayer, I'm not sure about that. I am a taxpayer.
Yes, we are.
So good evening. I'm going to share the goals from the finance department. One of our main goals, of course, is to make sure we receive an unmodified opinion on our audit each year. We're currently in the middle of our 23-24 audit. That'll be presented to the board near the end of November. But we've been able to receive an unmodified opinion for the past few years, and we expect the same for 2024. The second goal is to maintain a high bond rating. Of course, if we have a high bond rating, we can borrow funds at a lower cost. We currently have a AA3 and an A+ rating, so that's great. We intend to maintain those ratings. Our next goal is to make sure our policies and procedures are up to date, so we're continuously reviewing our procedures, communicating those procedures to the schools and to our leadership teams, and making sure we comply with the state, local, and federal guidelines that are presented each year. And then another goal is just to make sure our principals, our leadership team, and our school bookkeepers are aware of their financial budgets that are available and how much in funding they have left. So we currently do a quarterly finance training with all of our school bookkeepers. We bring them all together, they enjoy that, and we discuss different topics. It might be things that they've suggested or changes that we've made. So we enjoy bringing them together quarterly. And also during the budget process, we provide principals with a template for their general fund budget that allows them to set up that budget to best meet the needs of their particular location. They also have that flexibility with capital funds as well, because we know the needs are different depending on the area or the school that you serve. So we allow our principals and our leadership team to have that flexibility. And then the last goal is trying to create efficiencies. I'm change driven, so that might bother some people, but we're always looking for ways to change to make things more efficient for our staff, for our families, for our students, and for our bookkeepers, school-level bookkeepers. So this year we were able to roll out a new parent fee portal where parents can pay online for their student fees. It also allows the teachers to access that information immediately. So if a parent pays from home, the teacher can pull up the Whiteboard software and see that that student has paid. Whereas before they had to handwrite receipts and keep spreadsheets to see who's paid and who hasn't. So we hope that's going to streamline the process for our teachers, get their focus back on the classroom, and also streamline the process for our families.
Didn't we used to, I'm sorry for interrupting, didn't we used to have a payment portal?
We did. We have, it used to be my school fees.
Okay.
But this one is more streamlined, and on my school fees, the teachers couldn't access the data. So the parents can go online and pay, but the teacher wouldn't be able to see who paid. They still had to handwrite receipts, and they also had to keep a tally of who's paid.
That answered my next question.
So this streamlines it a little more.
And no, it's much more, we think we have a limited number of fees in our district.
That's correct.
But this is much more than that.
That's right.
The system is used for much more than that.
Yes, so parents can go on there and fill out permission slips. That also leads them to pay the fee for the field trip. It can also be used to gather like t-shirt sizes or any type of data you need to collect from your family. So teachers can post those questions on a form, and then the teacher can download those responses from the parent. It doesn't have to be tied to a fee necessarily, but that's the primary use of it. Thank you.
Great.
Good evening, everyone. I have goal number 8 for maintenance and facilities. For goal number 8, we stress building cleanliness inside and outside all locations. We encourage support the internal audits, climate awards and convocation, and Yard of the Month awards, which Adrian does a wonderful job spearheading that. During the past year, we've seen the completion of classroom wings at Carlisle Foster Grove Elementary, Hendricks Elementary, as well as additions at Boiling Springs Middle School and interior renovations at Hendricks. We're also able to complete LED lighting conversions at 7 locations. We continue to monitor school facility needs as well as updating our 5- and 10-year extended plans. We were able to complete multiple annual improvement projects at schools, including 4 boilers this year, 2 chillers, and flooring projects at 4 schools. Also to note, to add on to this, for these collective efforts and your support, we've been able to impact the second highest budget item in the district, which is utilities. Our district received an award from the South Carolina Energy Office, congratulations Corporate District 2, on achieving the 20% energy use reduction goal as mandated by the South Carolina State Government Energy Conservation Act. The process started back in the early 2000s with the benchmark. And the entities, the government entities have to hold it for at least 2 consecutive years before getting an award. And we were able to hold it for the last 2 years consecutive and 3 out of the last 4. So once again, thank you for your support.
Is
Any questions?
LEDs, is that, what is the major contributing factor to the
So
energy?
the interesting part about this is most school districts get it by going through an energy performance scenario. Our district did it prior to it. So I think we're going to see huge gains from that. So we got this before the LED project. Any other questions?
Thanks, Bob.
Over to Dr. Williams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Goal number 9 is talking about school safety and security. We continue to train our faculty and staff annually on our safety practices, and then we review those throughout the school year. Our schools have monthly safety meetings, and they submit drill and safety response reports monthly through our reporting system of Navigate 360, the online emergency management suite system that we have. Our security cameras, our fire suppression critical alarm systems are constantly inspected and monitored to ensure that they are working properly. Y'all updated school board policy last year to make sure that we can be more effective with school safety practices that our schools are utilizing. And we have a district-wide safety committee that involves members from every department and levels of schools across the district and our insurance company that we meet to review safety practices to ensure that risk assessment, to ensure that what we're doing is working and what we need to revise, monitor, change, and adjust to ensure we have safety as our number 1 priority in our school. Any questions? Take that one. Mr. Guy.
Goal 10 is focused on increasing and strengthening communication across our district and letting our stakeholders provide input. So one of the main ways we do that in-house, our principals do a great job of creating newsletters for their faculty and staff. I've seen those, we get to see those weekly. They keep them brief, they keep them to the point, not overwhelming, and easy to access. So they do a great job, and then we try to do a great job sending our newsletter weekly to principals, keep them up to date on those most important things, not overwhelm them with too much. And then we try to produce a great newsletter for you. And we hope you enjoy reading those great pieces of news from your schools, and then those important pieces of information. They're all important, but those for your eyes only kind of things in the confidential program. We try to make that something that's useful to all of you every Friday. Next, just some data from our parents, highlighted by 91.1% of parents indicate they receive timely information from their schools. As parent district 2, I can testify anecdotally to that. We get great information from our teachers and administration. So I'm glad to see that. Social media presence, that's our megaphone. So I'm glad it's the most followed in Spartanburg County. That provides us with just a huge audience we can reach at the drop of a really click. And that really proved itself to be handy recently with Hurricane Helene and the way we were able to communicate and also interact with parents. You know, we talk about providing stakeholder input and letting them provide input. So we're able to interact with parents real time and give them answers to questions they might have. So I'm glad it is the most followed. Using social media to market our district in different ways, including for job fairs and things like that, to attract people here. I've had many conversations with people as I make their ID badge. How did you hear about District 2? Social media. Or what's one of the first things you did? I went to that school social media page to get a glimpse at their culture. That's the first thing they see. Then Paul talked about some of these things. This is how we celebrate in-house. Our Yard of the Month, we celebrate sharing of the good news. Again, establishing that network of information. Our Teacher of the Year banquet. And then this year, we're going to add a retiree banquet. And they're going to be right there at the Piedmont Club. I hope all of you can be there. I hope no retirees show up. We don't want anyone there. If we just a few of us eat, that's fine. But we'll be there. But those that show up will get a great meal and a well-deserved meal and a well-deserved celebration. So that's great. And of course, our welcome back convocation, maybe our biggest district event. We all come together, work hard to make that something that our district enjoys and that they get some good information from. And then our district celebration calendar, which keeps us all on the same page and make sure nobody gets left behind when those celebrations roll around. And of course, we monitor our websites to make sure they're useful and accurate, timely. Again, that came, and of course, ADA compliant, that's Americans with Disability Act. We want everyone to be able to see those websites and read those. And we may not use this feature, but all of our websites can be seen in a number of different languages with just a click of a button. And it all translates into those languages. So you heard about all the great ML students that are here. Those parents can quickly access information in their home language. I love that. And then, of course, we continue to develop partnerships with our local media, but with the focus still being on our social media presence. The last time we talked to our parents, somewhere over 65% said that they get their information from social media. Statistics anywhere from 73 to 80% of all adults, that would be our parents, our families, ages, are on social media. So that's where we want to have our focus, but we do want to have a good working relationship with our local news media partners. And of course, for mass communications, we use Seesaw at the elementary level, Remind and School Messenger, and Bright Arrow for communications parents at the high school levels. For example, we get our report cards at the high school for my kids, Bright Arrow. Very easy PDF document. You get to see that. Kids can't hide it. It's in your email. You know, we get it. So that's fantastic. And then lastly, and this is, I mean, who would not want to work in District 2 when you see these little faces here? That was our billboard for last year. We got some new little faces that are going to help hopefully attract some great people here. So we're using billboards, as Mr. Brooks said, not just here in our area, but North Carolina. Really, we've partnered with a couple of ad agencies. We're really kind of taking it nationwide, and we're trying to attract great people here. And one of the things we market, of course, are our great students and our great community as a place to live. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Bright Arrow, is that available in multiple languages?
So what we mainly use, what I've seen Bright Arrow used for is mainly transmitting of documents. So if I send a PDF, it's a PDF out. So you could probably have some kind of PDF conversion software that you could translate that to a different language. That's what I mainly see it for. Do you agree, Trish?
Email service, and everything we send like report cards with attachments.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am,
so
attachments.
you could translate the email and just send it to certain families of the home language.
So what really is nice is that it does not get caught up in nothing that we've seen in spam and junk folders. So again, you get those important attachments right here.
Mr. Chair, I think it is important to note that, you know, we may not realize this, but we are in an American destination site. I mean, people are coming here for all kinds of reasons. For obviously, there's a great job market here, there's scenic beauty, all those things. So I think that we certainly can benefit from more of a national presence when it comes to recruiting our teachers. Because let's face it, when people are shopping for a new place to live or looking for a new job, you know, there's a lot of husband and wife teams, and one might be a teacher, the other not. So I think we are an American, I won't say a worldwide destination, but really an American destination, because people are coming from Washington, Oregon, California, Michigan, New York, you name the state in the far west coast or the northeast, and they are moving here. So we're going to expand our recruitment efforts into those areas we've seen a ton of people already moving from, and so we can track those teachers from those locations with their spouses.
Thank you.
I think make sure, slide up there on the board. So I was going to give you a little bit of update on our newest Eagles and Bulldogs, our 4K students who started at the beginning of the year, and actually got to see some of them this morning as we were all out and about schools. Welcome students back today, the 4K reading. I said, oh, I'm so glad you're back. They're like, yeah, we've hardly been here all year. So they were excited to be back, and these are a couple of our current students. Excited about working with great people. We know easy was have in our district. So actually, students are sitting in our classrooms right now, and they participated in our 4K program, and they actually scored at least 5 points, most of them more on average than other students that are sitting in 5K. And you have to remember, a lot of times the 4K students that we serve are some of our students that need the most support. So we're serving them, and then they're outscoring some of those other students that come to us the next year. So a lot of great data on our 4K program well for our students. Our class teachers go in on the we need to have a guideline to actually how to study reading and development programs. We additional lines that help us support have more teachers positions. We also provide some support for the tools that we use in classroom. And then we have 400 slots available. And I'm sure we probably go more than we do have a couple of spots, only 11 of 400 that are open right now. And we have kids that show up, we test them as they come in, because we don't start whenever. And so we are working with Santa Fe to call. She's a parent liaison for the way. She's a great go-to person to reach out and fill those spots and pull we can throughout the year. We meet with those 4K teachers monthly, have their own TLT meetings, because the 4K teacher is kind of their own little world. It's a little bit different than some of the general education classrooms. So we bring them all together to meet every month. They do a lot of social and emotional learning, which is very important for our youngest students to learn and grow together. So lots of great things already happen with our 4K students, and I'm very proud of them and their teachers. Any questions about 4K? Thank you.
Success in academics. We benefited greatly as it relates to our elementary scores and how our elementary school students are performing. That our 4K teachers are doing and that large language program that we have.
Don't worry, Christian, you're all the time.
Members of the board, we have recognition.
Make a motion that we certified appointment.
Motion made by Dr. Benson, seconded by Mrs. Smith to approve the certified appointment. Do we have any discussion? Question on it. I can't think through it. CJ and West Health District. Policies with 5 individual applications of 8. I want to do also, since I'm on the spot, it's all the policy applicants. Access personal and license or something. January 1st, 2025. So some schools in South Carolina must adopt a new cell phone policy that prohibits the use of personal by 2025. This policy aims to promote a learning environment that enhances focus on engagement in classes that are not impeded by the use of cell phones. And that's again is mandated, and it's a recommendation from the HR department that we approve the revision of policy JIC, cell phones and personal electronic communication devices. Trustees, we have a recommendation to approve updates JICJ as per Motion made by Mr. Bennett, and seconded by Mrs. Smith, to approve the date policy. Do we have any discussion?
I just have a question. How do we plan on informing families and students about this, about the new policy? Because I'm sure we're not just going to pass the policy and then not send something out. I mean, how are we planning on addressing that?
Yes, sir. I've been working with Adrian Acosta and our principals at the high school level specifically to develop a communication plan. We will start putting information out, but Mr. Acosta, working alongside our two high school principals at this time, are currently developing that communication plan. So our parents and students will be well informed about the new policy prior to January 1st, 2025.
I'd just like to say that it's a shame that state's making us adopt this policy. It's unenforceable, and but we don't, our hands are tied, we don't have much of a choice. So, any other questions? Hearing none, I call the brings us to item number 7, and this is Yes.
Yes, so I have provided general fund recommended expenditure report for that to September. I've also provided project budget update for Carlisle, Cedar, and Western. I can answer any questions you might have.
Can you tell us a little bit about how the free lunch affected the budget? Or has it at all?
No, we will definitely stand up in the middle, and we feel confident that next year we will be able to add on that stuff. Because of the ISP percentage, people in the service, and the increase in the meal participation.
It's just awesome. First of all, I've always wanted this, and this is happening across all levels of our district. I just believe that if you're going to have a captive audience of students, they are fit people. And I believe we should do it all through elementary, middle, and high school. But we got to be able to afford that and sustain that. And the great thing about it is our food service department have continued to advertise, continue to inform, continue to post on social media. The more participation that we have, the greater the funds receive, so that we can then benefit our high schools from that elementary and middle school participation. And we feel really good that we're on track that we'll be able to do that for our high schools next year. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
First slide that I want to show you is, again, just talking about communication and how important it was, especially during everything we just went through. This is just a quick screen grab of some of the comments people shared with us as we communicated out information about school delays, about school being out. You can see the appreciation in people's words there. We worked hard during that time to make sure we got out communication as soon as we could, as accurately as we could, and as many ways as we could. This time was really challenging because we couldn't use phones. If you guys remember those early days, phones were not working. And the last thing we wanted is people to get a garbled message that would maybe even create more anxiety. So we went with emails, our social media presence. A lot of those posts, you can see the analytics on that, they reached close to 45, 50,000 people. So we worked hard to make sure people got that information. And you know, social media can be a negative place, but we had overwhelmingly positive reactions from people who appreciated, I think, the decisions that were made and the timeliness in which they were made. So I did want to share that with the board. And now on to some good news. We are back to celebrating our kids. They're back. And we're back to celebrating them, including our student athletes. This is a picture from senior day, Chesney High School golf. Of all the pictures, why this one? Well, this team right here is on the hunt for a 4th consecutive state championship. I don't see anything in their way either. So I wanted to share that picture, but we're sharing pictures of all of our student athletes and getting the websites up to date and all those great things. And I know just today or just late yesterday, the high school league has extended the football season by 1 week. So now the goal is to get our schedules updated. I know the athletic directors and principals are working on getting schedules hashed out, but that was a good thing that was extended out, so we get to play our season out. We'll get schedules updated online, and we're going to make sure the parents know when those games are in our community so they can be there to cheer on the Eagles, the Bulldogs, the Gators, and everybody else. So we're going to keep going down that road. All right, Jess, we go to the next slide. And there are the teacher cadets, Bowling Prince High School. And look at that group of smiling faces. Who would have ever thought just moments before they were having a heated debate about pizza in the cafeteria? When they come, the different departments come and chat with them and talk to them about school operations. Everything was going so well until food services came in. And the first, I think it was the young lady right there in the pink in the front. And she had a question about Papa John's pizza. Is it really Papa John's pizza? You got spirited, folks. But they learned a lot. They had a lot of great questions. And they learned about food services that day because they asked good questions. But every single one of them becomes a teacher. Everyone you see there, and Miss Atkins there, right by Mr. Bradford. She does a great job of growing that group every year. And then in the spring, we look forward to hosting our teacher cadets from Chesney High School. All right. Love this picture. Just before everything happens. Everything happens. And this little girl had not learned. And she just couldn't believe it. She was doing it at all. She got the news and she was so pumped up to hear she was a perfect scorer. And there were actually 33 perfect scores in math, 2 in ELA, and 1 student got an 18. I think they have they were cool about it. But she was really more emotional. Loves it, she was excited to hear this news. Dr. Head talked a little bit about this. We promoted our scholarship system, which is a 6-step system particularly focused on our juniors in high school. It gives parents lots and lots of resources to get scholarship dollars for their kids. So this is our second year that we've done that. All juniors got a little book, which I got 3 of them. I got 3 juniors this year. I was looking at the book. We got to look at the book because it finds parents ways to get money for their kids to go to college. Fantastic. And then also there were 100 spots for parents to sign up for an online course, which is a little more comprehensive, but the book is fantastic information. So we promoted that out. Hopefully parents are taking advantage of that opportunity. We also shared online, again, using that big megaphone we have. It's our teacher. For teachers, people who want to get into teaching, especially we put it out there now. It's pretend this year, like a contract. Our substitute workshop, which took place on September 12th, fantastic turnout. We had close to 100 people show up. So that is great as we head into cold and flu season here in the winter months. We hope lots of those end up being substitutes for our schools. And then the recruitment fair, as we talked about, we're promoting that right now. That's December 7th. Anything you can do to promote that in your own circles would be fantastic too. But we are going all out. Billboards, digital marketing. We're going to really put the word out as far and wide as we can. And then lastly, want to share a difference maker video. As you know, this is Hispanic Heritage Month. And Andy Rogers reached out and he said, I have someone who happens to be Hispanic, but is a difference maker every day, no matter what. But he said this would be a perfect time to celebrate Ms. Baca, who does so much for our school district, it being Hispanic Heritage Month. And I will just let Andy Rogers tell you about Ms. Baca.
Boys and girls, thank you so much for your attention. This time we have a special presentation with this being the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month. This is a great opportunity for us to recognize one of our amazing workers. I'm going to ask Ms. Rosa Baca If you'll come here, Rosa. So let me tell you about Miss Rosa Bach. Rosa is our lead custodian. And as you walk up and down the halls every day, as you go to the restrooms, as you go to your classrooms, you see that our school is always looking beautiful. And Miss Baca has a lot of pride in Boiling Springs Middle School, always wanted to make sure that it looks perfect. She comes in early, she stays late, she gives it everything that she has so our school can always look beautiful. Not only does she do that, she serves as an English and Spanish translator. And this year she'll be working directly with our ML classes, helping tutor our students in both Spanish and English. And Rosa, because of all of these things, you are District 2 Difference Maker of the Week.
In recognition of the Hispanic Heritage Month, and to tell you thank you for all the opportunities you provide for Hispanic families like my own across our school district and all our families across our district. I want to tell you, muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Great job, Adrian Costa. And just while we're on that, Adrian, it was very nice that we were able to serve food from Chesney Middle School and Chesney High School on Sunday night. And we had a lot of volunteers from out of the state, out of the community that came, of course, needed restrooms to use and those kinds of things. And so I was letting people in and out of our building, go to the restrooms or whatever. And on multiple occasions going back and forth, people made the comment how clean Chesney High School is and how they couldn't believe how clean that school was. So it's not just at Bowling Springs Middle School, it's at Chesney High School, Chesney Middle School, Oakland Elementary School, look across our district. Our custodians do a fantastic job each and every day. And it made me proud. I mean, it made me really, really proud that multiple people, not at the same time, not in the same group of people going into the restrooms, noticed how clean our schools are because our folks do an absolutely fantastic job. Appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Yeah, what is next? Mr. Radford, looks like you're next.
Well, and this is the time that I'll turn over usually to Dr. Sarah Simmons to give us our legislative issues and updates, our liaison report. And I know that unfortunately Dr. Sarah Simmons cannot be with us this evening, but we have some business that I know the board needs to decide in terms of the 2024 South Carolina School Board Association Legislative Advocate Conference and Delegate Assembly. And I know that y'all want to decide how we're going to do that. So we'll turn it over to you, Mr. Chair, at this time to take care of that.
All right, guys. So you guys know that we have 4 votes. We can do this for 2 people. I believe, I think who's not going to the conference?
Monty Smith is not going, and Brandon. Everybody else is registered.
All right, and then Mr. Gardner and myself will get passes because we so eagerly volunteered for it. So that leaves us with Mr. Schubert, Mrs. Yelton, Mr. Watson, Mr. Breitenbach, and Dr. Banks. Do we have any volunteers?
I think I did. Feels like it.
Of course, it is an honor to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I'm newbie, I can't do it.
The chair would consider it a special favor.
I'll do it.
Initiation. And he would also need somebody to join him. Any other volunteers?
He's got 4 fingers.
But he can only cast 2 votes for those fingers. Our delegates will be Dr. Banks and Mr. Watson, and I'm going to ask Ms. Yelton if you would be an alternate.
Okay.
feel like headache.
And I'll turn it back over to you now, Mr. Rudd.
Yes, sir. Well, tonight, board, I just want to share a few words, specifically as it relates to Hurricane Helene. We've heard a lot about it tonight. Heard a lot of tragedy, really, not only in our own community, but across a 6-state area that Hurricane Helene hit. But I want you to know, I want to start just by saying, we live in a great country. And not only live in a great country, we live in a great state. We live in a great community. We just do. And it's times like we have a hurricane like Helene that hits, that it really is those kinds of things that brings out the best in people. And we saw that all around our community. We've seen it all around our state. We've seen it in Western North Carolina. So, no matter what the news media may tell us from time to time, or social media may tell us from time to time, we live in a great country. We live in a great state and a great community that cares about their people, cares about their neighbors, and cares about people they don't even know. And we saw that come out over the last, I think, 11 days now. And I think that needs to be said. And my heart and my prayers go out to all folks that have been affected, by Hurricane Helene. I mean, the devastation has just been tremendous, not only in our own community, but obviously across the Southeast and especially in Western North Carolina. The impact has just been heartbreaking in our own community, our D2 family, to lose a wonderful teacher at Bowling Springs High School like Anna Maria Fletcher. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for Bowling Springs High School. And I just want to ask all of you to keep the Fletcher family and Bowling Springs High School in your thoughts and prayers. This is the first day that we returned, Bowling Springs High School returned since Anna Maria Fletcher's passing. And I know I've been a high school principal, and so I know what it's like. And Zach McQuigg, there for the students as they enter the classroom for the first time coming back and being able to talk to those students. I know how heartbreaking it is for a principal, because your students, your faculty, your staff, it's your personal family. So I prayed for him today as he was taking on that task to meet those students and share with them. Some of them may find out for the first time because of the lack of internet and the lack of communication during the storm and after the storm. I would just say, in the midst of tragedy and even during people's own hardships, they are reaching out to help their neighbors and reaching out to people they've never met before. So I just wanted to say that to our board tonight and to our folks here in attendance tonight. I'd also like to take a moment just to recognize some other folks who really stepped up during this crisis. And we'll start with our maintenance team, our custodial team, and our principals across the district. Because even in the midst of the storm, before the storm had cleared, before the storm had ended, those folks were out in our schools. They're out making sure that our schools were okay, that if there was something that could be tended to, they wanted to make sure that as soon as we could get back to school, we would be able to get back to school because we would take care of those things in a timely manner. So I just want to give a shout out to our maintenance team, custodial team, and our principals. I mean, they were out there when the wind was blowing and the trees were falling. They were making sure that our district was in good shape and our schools were in good shape. And as soon as the need was realized, our director of food service, Ms. Paulette Ford, and her team went to work. Went to work with our partners at Chartwell's to develop a plan to feed members of the community, because it became very clear very quickly that there was not opportunity to have food in our community. With no power along Highway 9, with no power in our homes, and food going to waste in our refrigerators, all that food being spoiled, we needed an opportunity for our community to come and eat. And Mr. Johnny Road opened up his school at Shoulder Creek Elementary School, the one school that had power in our district. They got together, they cooked food. We had volunteers from teachers to administrators to Girl Scouts to churches from all around our community. They came out, our students came out. Students that didn't have to be there, they came, they wanted to help, they wanted to serve. And I really think it does show the character of our community, because of what people who didn't have power, couldn't take a shower, couldn't take a bath, couldn't cook their own food, but they're coming to serve other people. And that happened, from first day, Monday, we were serving food Monday through Thursday. So I just want to thank all those folks who came out, and we served about over 7,500 meals were served. And it wasn't just that, but we had people there who were willing to box up food and take it into communities where we knew there was a great need, but maybe no way for those people to come to the facility to get that food. So we had volunteers who took that out across our district into our community. I tell you, we had board members who came out and volunteered. Like I said, just a lot of people poured out to make sure that our community could be served. And then next, I want to talk about our Director of Transportation, Jan Johnson, and her team, and then members of our district safety team, going out and making sure that once we had power, we started looking at roads and beginning to make sure where can our buses travel, where can our buses not travel, making sure that they're going to safe travel for our buses. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm just so proud of our bus drivers, because I'm telling you something. I switched up when I was going down the road in my little truck with all the trees and stuff that were lined up or cut off right at the edge of the road. And here we got these big long buses that sway up in the road, and you got all the stuff stacked beside you. You got to make tight turns, all those kind of things. We are blessed to have the bus drivers that we have and how they serve our community. But they came out, they ran their routes, they looked, they made sure, we made adjustments, we made phone calls to parents in those places where our buses could not travel. And we had a successful operation day for our buses, not only picking up students, but also dropping off students. That's not to say we were perfect, because we weren't. But I will tell you that our students and our parents, our teachers, they were ready to be back today, and they were back, and they were happy to be back. And then last but certainly not least, I just want to thank our faculties and staff and our administrators from across our district. We decided to have a teacher work day yesterday. And I'm going to tell you, it was needed. It was needed for just mental health. I mean, I had flashbacks of COVID. I'm not going to lie to you and what we had to do with COVID. But here we had our faculty and staff members that didn't have any power, didn't have connection. We're all connected to our phones. We're all connected to the internet. We're all connected in those ways. And we weren't connected in those ways to be able to communicate and get clear communication. But they were able to come back yesterday. They were able to plan. They were able to meet. They were able to get together and share stories, because we all had situations of our families. I mean, trees falling on homes, trees falling on neighbors' homes, trees falling on our mothers, our fathers' homes, our grandparents' homes, unable to get out of their driveways because trees just blocking the driveway. People who needed medicine that they couldn't get to, or they needed refrigeration for that medication. And our families were able to do that for each other during the time we're out, but they were able to talk about that, because it was a very stressful situation for a lot. Stressful for me. It was stressful for everyone, I think, during this time. But I just want to give them all praise that what they did throughout this crisis, and then how they were to come back together yesterday to prepare for a smooth operation of schools today. And then last, but certainly not least, something, we're not letting a little hurricane stop us from celebrating principals. October is Principal Appreciation Month, and we got some awesome principals in our district who will step up and do whatever it takes to make it happen for their students and their faculty and staff. So we might be a little behind on the celebration, but we're going to make up for it tomorrow, because we have a little principals meeting tomorrow at our Teaching and Learning Center, and we're going to celebrate an awesome group of individuals who are serving our community, and they're really serving the most precious portion of our community, and that's our children. Mr. Chair, that's the end of the superintendent's report, sir. Appreciate you allowing me to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, members of the board, I need a motion to head into executive session for contractual and personnel matters. What is the pleasure of the board?
I make the motion that we go into executive session for personnel and contractual issues.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. McKillop. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any that are opposed? That motion carries 8-0 and 1. Now, we will retire to the conference room for a few minutes, and I would invite you guys to stick around.
Do we need all our stuff?
Oh, gosh, Pete, I'm so sorry. Oh, gosh, yes, I thank you. Sorry. That was also, that was a lot of presenting.
See you tomorrow, Dave.
All right, have a good evening. Bye, Becky. Bye.
hot, and then it got cold, but I didn't text you because I knew it was about time.
Well, hopefully we have some adjustment on whatever your set point is. I think it lets it get like a degree higher, and then takes the degree lower, and lets it drift back up. And as it's drifting back up, it gets stuck. So, and then as it's bringing it back down, almost 2 degrees. It gets up.
I was in our office, I noticed that, we try to keep it, I mean, we try to keep it like on 73.5, but then I'll go in there and it'll be on 73, and then it'll be like 72.1.
But I think in the classroom, schools where you got loads of kids, older loads of kids.
Yeah. Yeah. That's degrees.
Better than it too hot.
Yeah, I can't handle hot. It got hot, I kept hearing tick, 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 tick. I looked there.
Well, we weren't going to tell Rachel's down there.
Started fanning.
I was like, well,
I could hear a popping. Was it this one or was it, could you tell if it was down there?
just so when I started popping, it's like it's just bringing in on just like a static. Yeah.
But I felt like I could hear this one.
I heard it this way.
There's 6.
I heard it.
Over there, yeah.
That must have been all of it. Must have been all
Last week, I thought it was the projector.
of it. No, I can hear the hum now, that's the speakers.
It was coming on, I thought it was the projector maybe thing coming on or something.
That projector legit though. Yeah, you can see that thing like.
We need to use them.
Man, fuck with that thing.
Yeah, we gotta get that bigger now. This is not.
That's like a baby compared to that.
This is legit, yeah.
That'd be what you probably should do that. And the big screen there and the TV on each side, then you got the windows.
I don't know if something happened with that speaker. But it's off.
Mike?
Yeah. It's off. The lights will be off too. Maybe they ran out of battery.
Sound picked up pretty good there. I can hear everybody pretty good.
Yeah, this one's, the battery's flashing.
Replaced all
I got new ones.
We replaced them all in the first board meeting. Remember, they all died.
But both of these are flashing. It keeps coming on, it's a home.
A lot of times you don't really notice the hum when it's quiet. But there's more people in here, I'll see you. So that 5 networks got some different footage. When I said it was cheaper than at $45. Lower his installation cost. That's just. Yeah, you listen to it. Well, the mics and the controllers are old compared to this. I think we're actually gonna try to get boom mics. 3 to 4 different, be like 11, 12, like directional. Instead of three. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing those.
Did y'all just see the thing that, district board is closing school because of rain?
Well, I got 3 schools though.
District board closes schools Wednesday after possible roll.
Which school?
Yeah, that ain't four, I'm saying. It says schools.
Don't take long for start growing.
We're trying to do potty training, and what is it called? And my neighbor across the road has chickens and home pigeons. And Terry said, I tell you what, the Friday, I'll take you to see those chickens and those home pigeons. Okay, and so I said, I gotta go back in now. But he didn't. But he sent me a text tonight. He said, guess what? And she said, poop, and then chickens. Yes. Because he's been sick. He's been sick every day. He's chickens. I said, no, chickens. Not chickens. Oh, I'm trying to get story here. Put them in the pot and can get some chickens. You put some potty in it.
What number attendance?
You tell me that we graduated, you're always smiling.
Please, you know what? I think they saw me standing. I know, it is, but I'm getting the good stuff in the back.
Sir, appreciate that.
Oh, Mom and Joey, I'm taking some of y'all to speak.
It's cold. Word form.
All right, trustees, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
I make a motion, we come out of executive session.
Motion made by Mr. Shuback and seconded by Dr. Bates to come out of the executive session. Hearing no discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any that are opposed? And that motion carries 8-0-1. I know it said no action was taken in executive session. And I will now turn our meeting over to Superintendent Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Board, Mr. Board Chair, and board members and folks in attendance tonight. I'm going to do something tonight that I've never done before. Dear members of the board, trustees, faculty, staff, administrators, students, and community, after much prayer and reflection, I want to inform you my decision to retire from my position as superintendent of Spartanburg, effective June 30th, 2025. This decision comes after 7 years as superintendent of Spartanburg District 2 and 36 years of dedicated service to students, teachers, and families of South Carolina. My time as superintendent of Spartanburg 2 has been among the most rewarding experience of my career. Together, we have faced extraordinary challenges and so many successes, including that being a global pandemic, while keeping our students safe in school. Our district's resilience in the face of adversity is a testament to the strength and dedication of our faculty, staff, administrators, families, and community. During these years, we experienced unprecedented growth, completing 13 major building projects that expanded and modernized our facilities to support this growth. Our efforts have not gone unnoticed, as our district has consistently achieved outstanding state report card grades, a reflection of our commitment to providing a top quality education for every child. It's been an honor and privilege to serve alongside difference makers like our talented teachers, support staff, school district leaders, support families, and most importantly, our fellow students. Together with we strive to create an environment where every child has the opportunity to thrive. There's no doubt that we will be difference makers in the lives of students every day. time with my wife, Angela, our family. This decision that's difficult is one I made with heartfelt gratitude for the experiences and relationships I've built in this district and throughout my career. I extend my deepest appreciation to the board for your unwavering support, collaboration during my tenure. The collective efforts of our team have made a lasting impact on the lives of our students, and I'm confident that the district will continue to have a bright future under your leadership. Thank you for trusting me with the responsibility of leading our first district. It has truly been a blessing, a pleasure to serve this community. With sincere gratitude. Chair, I love this school district. I love the school board, and I love the people that I work with. And it truly has been an honor to serve. It's been 7 grade in my life that I'll reflect on my retirement, all the friendships and really relationships I've built here. It's really amazing. I mean, probably not even measure. I look around the room with people I serve with. They're awesome people. I love you. And y'all with me, and I appreciate it.
Well, I'll just a few minutes ago, and I'll take it again, bring this up here. If I could, if the board could have the opportunity to hire our next person, we could hire Lance Redmond to do so.
Yes.
So this is 100% your decision. We're glad that you have made that, and wish you the best of luck, but hate you gotta go.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Trustees, with that, we have a bit of business to do. Unfortunately, I have a recommendation that we accept Mr. Radford's request to retire effective June 30th, 2025. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we grant Mr. Lance Radford's request that he be released from his employment contract with the district and accept his resignation from his employment with the district for purposes of his retirement effective June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Gardner and seconded by Mr. Smith to allow Mr. Radford's retirement. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask all in favor. Any that are opposed? And that motion carries 8-0 and 1.
Mr. Redford, I just want to say, I know we've all come to know and love you, and we hate to see you go.
Appreciate you
Thank
saying
you for everything you've done.
It's been literally an awesome 7 years. I've loved every minute of it. Like I said, I love this board. We have a great board who serves our community well, and we've got a great administrative team, not only at the district level, but the school level. We have awesome teachers, and I am confident this board is going to find a great person to continue to lead our district forward. I'm truly confident in that, and I wish this district the best, but we got a lot of work to be done before I can retire on June 30th, 2025. So we're going to continue to keep the path moving forward to make sure we serve our students in Spartanburg well.
Thank you. Now, if you guys want, I mean, I've got a prepared statement that I'd like to read, and it's an impressive list of accomplishments for somebody to have made over a career, much less 7 years. And it's a page that I have here, and trust me, I had to work to condense it as much as I could, but still give it the justice that it deserves. And I'm not as eloquent as I'd like to be reading, so I'm going to read this and paraphrase where I need to. But as chair of board and a proud graduate of District 2, I've aimed for the best for our district and community. Today, it's with heartfelt gratitude that we acknowledge the remarkable contributions Mr. Radford, who served as our superintendent of Spartanburg District 2 since 2018. Over the past 7 years, Mr. Radford has exemplified exceptional leadership, guiding our district through unprecedented challenges while fostering significant growth. During the COVID-19 pandemic, his dedication was evident as our faculty and staff returned safe. A decision that was not popular at that time.
The best for our children.
But you had criticism from the community. You had criticism from the members of this board, including myself. But it was the right call, and our district has flourished because of that. Mr. Radford inspired confidence among the teachers and the community, allowing students to return to school during such uncertain times. Despite the disruptions, our students are thriving academically. It's no surprise that Mr. Radford's proactive approach to safety, resuming in-person instruction, attracted families nationwide, contributing to Spartanburg 2 becoming the largest school district in Spartanburg County. Under his guidance, we successfully completed 13 major projects, including Bowling Springs High School, and I'm losing my place here, but enhancing our athletic facilities. We built a maintenance facility. We built a bus facility. We transformed an intermediate school to an elementary school and did all kinds of renovations through the district. And we didn't have a dedicated person. That was on your shoulders during that time. And I'm off track again, but his vision included the seamless transformation of Bowling Springs Intermediate School into Sugar Ridge and the effective rezoning of schools for new families. How many times do you go through that without a bunch of criticism and hate and discontent in the community? But we had very little of that during that time. Thanks to your focus on athletics and student engagement, our district has introduced new sports teams, accumulating in an impressive 8 state championships. And we're just on that. We are just on the cusp of showing our District 2 athletic abilities across the state. Mr. Radford recognizes that athletes are not merely about competition, but about fostering discipline, teamwork, and resilience among our students. Safety has also been a cornerstone of Mr. Radford's legacy. Every school now has at least one dedicated school resource officer. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we were a leader in that first district in South Carolina to have school resource officer in every school. Secure entrances, an enhanced monitoring system, like a video surveillance and things, that ensures a safe environment for all. And there's still more work he's doing on that front that we're going to get implemented before you get out of here. And he's worked tirelessly with the board to update policies, paving the way for additional safety measures. At a time when South Carolina teacher shortage, our district has continued to attract exceptional educators under his leadership. Since it began, starting pay for District 2 teachers has increased. Anybody got any idea? The last 7 years, what our pay's increased? 41% is what our starting pay has increased. And we've taken our salary scales from 25 to 34. And we've hired, I mean, it's in the hundreds of new teachers and administrators to accommodate the growth. And guess what? All this growth, it came with a little growing pain. There was a tax one time, but we did all that with a very, very minimal tax increase to our constituents of the district. Mr. Radford's commitment to public education and prioritizing students has led to the expansion of 4K early childhood education in the district. Hundreds of young learners are now receiving a solid foundational education, contributing to a consistent ranking among the top 10 school districts in South Carolina for academic performance. Top 10, and we're going to crack the top 5, and we're going to be on top of the list before long, I have no doubt. While these achievements we've discussed are measurable and significant, perhaps the greatest gift to our district and community is the infection energy. Yeah, y'all remember when he came in for his interview?
Yes.
That volume was turned up. Unmatched enthusiasm, genuine caring, relentless work ethic. I can't tell you the times that I've gone by in the evening and he'd be in his office and I'll call him and I'll say, hey, well, once you get 15 hours in, don't worry about the rest of the day. Take the rest of the night off. But there were countless 15-hour days or longer. So we thank you for your devotion to our district, the students and staff. Mr. Radford, on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for making Spartanburg District to your home and for leaving it in a strong position to serve generations of students at a tremendous world-class level. We wish you and your family the very best in your retirement and a lot of years, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, if there's nothing else for the good of our district, I will entertain a motion for us to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn made by Mr. Gardner, seconded by Dr. Banks and Mrs. Smith. Hearing no discussions, I will ask all those in favor. Any that are opposed? That motion carries 8-0-1, and we are adjourned. Yep.